To put it lightly, folks, Six Flags is in trouble. With a new CEO and strategy in place for the company, it seems nothing is going the way they expected. And today, folks, I'm going to go over what may have been one of the most chaotic roller coasters of a month Six Flags has ever experienced in their history. So buckle up your seatbelts, because we're in for a bumpy ride. It all started on August 5th, when a post titled "Step Down Salim" was posted to the Six Flags subreddit. For those of you who don't know, Salim here is referring to the CEO of Six Flags, Salim Basoul. Now, Salim only started at Six Flags in November of 2021 when he replaced former CEO Mike Spanos, who had only been CEO for 2 years. That's right, he was only CEO pretty much just for the COVID pandemic. That sucks. I mean, the guy never got a shot to be CEO. Listen, I had my complaints about the guy, but he never really got a real shot to run the company. He was just in disaster mode the whole time. So sorry to Mr. Spanos, but Salim stepped in and he didn't want to make a whole lot of changes. The only thing he wanted to change really was just their entire business model. Salim's strategy to grow Six Flags and move them into the future can be laid out in a few points. 1. He wanted to significantly raise prices. He felt that Six Flags was charging way too little for way too long for what they were offering. 2. He knew that attendance would drop as a result of this. But the people who did come would end up spending more money because prices were so much higher. 3. As a result of the lower attendance, guests would be more satisfied as they wouldn't have to wait in as many lines and would deal with less crowds. And 4, with lower attendance means you need less employees, so he would go ahead and cut staffing costs in order to better their margins. It seems like a decent plan on the surface, I guess. But evidently by this post, it's not really pleasing everyone. The post is framed as a letter to the board of directors and to the investors of Six Flags stock, with the premise being that this is an employee of Six Flags who has seen enough from Salim and is asking for the board to step in and force him out of his position of power. This post lays out that several key team members have been laid off, wages have not been increased, and attendance has been abysmal at the parks this year. All this culminates in what the user claims is an all-time low morale for the company. They conclude the post by asking the board to remove Salim as the CEO and imploring investors to sell their shares of Six Flags if they do not do so. Now, this all sounds pretty bad, but pretty much none of it can be confirmed or substantiated. It's all pretty much just rumor. And especially when you consider this was posted anonymously by an account that was specifically made just to post this post, there's really no way of telling if this is actually a disgruntled Six Flags employee who's hoping that the company can get back on track, or if it's just a short seller, somebody who wants to see Six Flags stock plummet to nothing so they can make a whole lot of money. We have no idea. And as a result, we really can't be certain if any of this is even true. But then, a few days later, a rumor comes up on Screamscape, an historically reliable rumor source in the theme park community, stating that not only 200 to 250 full-time employees at Six Flags have been let go, but also that 5 park presidents were let go from the company, all set to quote-unquote retire September 1st. That's a pretty big deal. You usually don't see an exodus of this many high-up people in a company unless things are really going crazy over there. On top of this, the Screamscape report also indicates that we could be seeing an attendance loss of up to 25% at certain parks. That's nuts. Obviously, Salim's plan called for attendance to be lowered, but by that amount, that doesn't seem sustainable. Now, as far as the park president's rumor goes, only one of them has actually confirmed to be leaving the company, set to retire on September 1st, and that's Six Flags Great Adventure's president. However, the other 4 have not been confirmed in any sort of way. They've not posted anything on social media, and they have not changed anything on their LinkedIn. So, as far as we know, they might still be with the company. We have no idea. On top of this, in John Winkler's post, the former president of Great Adventure, he did not indicate any sort of ill will or that he was being ousted from the company because of Salim or anything like that. He only had good things to say. So right now we have no idea if this is actually true or not. Like I said, Screamscape, usually reliable, but right now, unconfirmed. But as it just so happens, 2 days after Screamscape's rumor gets reported, Six Flags announces their second quarter earnings. Well, here it is, folks. Here's our concrete evidence. Six Flags, being a public company, has to disclose all this information to let their investors know how the company is doing. So now we can finally substantiate whether or not this Reddit post was telling the truth, or if Screamscape had a reliable source on this. Now we get to find out. Six Flags earnings report starts off with a statement from the big dog himself, Salim Basoul. He immediately starts off by saying, this is a transitional year for Six Flags. Uh-oh. You don't want to hear that at the beginning of an earnings report. He then goes on to mention that guest satisfaction scores are up and that in-park per capita spending is up, which is exactly what Salim needs for his strategy to work out. So surely the numbers must look great, right? Oh no, they do not. They look abysmal. Missing on revenue by 5% versus last year when you were recovering from a pandemic, when half of your parks had capacity restrictions and some of them were closed. Looking at attendance, it seems that the Screamscape rumor was pretty much right. The overall chain lost attendance at 22% versus last year. And despite in-park spending being up, net income was still down year over year, showing that the attendance drop was too much to overcome. What's hilarious about this is that immediately after showing those numbers in the earnings report, they then go to say, oh, actually Easter was in this quarter this year, so we actually should have had more attendance, but for some reason we didn't. So not only were Six Flags numbers worse than they were this time last year, but they also came in lower than what analysts had expected them to make, resulting in an absolutely disastrous day for the stock, with it being down 20% at one point. Now, as part of these earnings reports, Six Flags also does an earnings call, where analysts get to have one-on-one discussions with the CEO, Salim himself. Here, Six Flags and Salim can give greater depth and detail behind these numbers to explain exactly what happened. So what did Salim have to say? Well, one of the very first things he started the call with was comparing Six Flags Great Adventure's annual pass price from 2019 to 1994, where apparently it was priced the exact same, claiming that that explains why it made sense to raise prices so much. But Salim, did you ever maybe consider that maybe the season pass price was too expensive in 1994? I mean, it's not like the company was doing that great back then. He then goes on to clarify the increased guest satisfaction scores, laying out that the reason why they are up is because guests are getting in more rides per day as a result of the lower crowds. Hey, that's something positive, I guess. What was not so positive were the numbers they reported here, and as Salim goes on to explain, a big reason for that is because they had 10 to 15% lower attendance for what they actually were hoping to get. Salim then further clarifies that the amount of guests they are hoping to get to not only make a sizable profit, but to also keep the guest experience optimal is 25 to 27 million guests per year. Wait, where have I seen that number before? Oh, last year, 2021, the parks brought in 27.7 million guests. Wasn't that not working out, Salim? Didn't you think that that needed to be changed? So you're telling me you want to get the attendance back up to those levels? But now because prices are going to be higher, you don't think that the crowds are going to be too bad. Got it. Salim then states that they cut full-time employees by 25%. That is a massive layoff. I mean, a lot of companies are doing layoffs right now because the economy is not so good, but that is a massive cut. So now that you've cut probably many valuable team members and your attendance is lower than where you want it to be, what is Salim's plan to regain this attendance loss?
As we seek to rebuild our attendance base in a healthy and profitable fashion, we plan to introduce new product offerings to increase visitations this fall, such as introducing a new dining plan, creating a bigger and better Fry Fest with activities to attract more families, such as trick-or-treating and no boo wearables, and introducing a new Oktoberfest event. We believe these and other initiatives will help us grow our attendance and recapture a portion of our lost active base holders in advance of the 2023 season.
Salim, I think you forgot to mention something there, bud. Surely you forgot to mention rides, right? Like you forgot to mention that, right? Because, I mean, those are all nice, but those are not going to get people to come back to the parks, especially at this high price. You got to improve the parks in a much more significant manner. I mean, Salim, you mentioned in the same call that you want to be a premium experience. Well, Salim, a premium experience is Disney Universal. They're spending hundreds of millions of dollars on rides every year. And your plan is to spend nothing? Surely that can't be the case, right?
I will answer very clearly that we have ample ride capacity in our parks. Each of our parks have introduced a new ride or attraction every year, and larger parks now have between 10 to 18 roller coasters each. I don't think that's an issue. I'm going to also say very proudly that despite all what people have said, we are introducing a lot more rides still today, that we have introduced a lot of rides going on, but which I will talk about in just a minute. But let's go back now. We have to deploy more resources effectively on guest-facing technology, on food and beverage service, and other attractions. These investments, in my opinion, are less capital intensive than new rides.
Holy cow. Are you out of your mind? You think you could charge the same amount as SeaWorld and Cedar Fair, who are investing in their parks every year? Well, you're just not going to build any new rides. You're going to be like, all right, well, we'll make a better app so they can spend money easier. What? Salim, you say that you offer the same value as these other guys. You don't. You just don't. And then you have the gall to say, we're going to ditch our original target base of young adults who want to ride thrill rides, and we're going to go for families. But Salim, your parks have thrill rides. You don't have that many family rides. You have to invest if you want to change the parks to be appealing to families. I get it. They spend more money, but your parks are not built that way. Like, come on, Salim. Surely you see that, right? What's this? So what? People have been able to... It's not important to... Are you kidding me? You don't want to build a new ride because you think people are going to wait for it? They're not going to want to ride it because they have to wait for it? Ah! Oh my God. Okay. This guy's a madman. He's actually a madman. Surely he's got other good plans, though, to bring people back and to make the parks better. Surely.
I strongly believe that there is more opportunity for pricing to take place. And I have to tell you that having done what we've done, not only taking away freebies, bring a friend, taking away, we put in blockout dates, we basically didn't allow, now your season's pass, the entry season pass doesn't allow it to go all the parks or even to some of the water parks. We took away the dining plan, the free drink bottles. I am very pleased to see where our dollar revenues have been in the first half, and the number of fans that's continued to come to our park and willing to spend significantly in our parks.
Wait. Did you just call the people who go to Six Flags suckers? You literally just said, yeah, we took away all these perks, yet these idiots still show up. Are you out of your mind? You do all these just absolutely brain dead things, yet you wonder, why are group sales down? Maybe because you raised up prices and these schools and camps can't afford to come to the parks anymore. You wonder why sponsorships are down. Maybe it's because there are less people in the park, so they're not going to pay you the same amount to put a sponsorship on your park because less people are going to see it. This is basic stuff, and either you don't seem to understand it or you don't want to understand it so that way you can get away with it on these earnings calls. And then you have the gall to say that influencers love it. Well, I guess I'm not one of them. You know, going into this, I wanted to give Salim the benefit of the doubt because it really did kind of seem like maybe a bit of a witch hunt, because you had all these rumors and posts coming out just absolutely hating on him, presumably out of nowhere. But now that this earnings report is out and the proof is in the pudding, I mean, you can't deny it. This has been a disaster. And going back to that initial Reddit post and seeing that he said that Salim doesn't read reports, after hearing what he had to say in the call, I'm not surprised by that. I mean, I had some massive criticisms of Jim Ree Anderson when he was the CEO of Six Flags, and I had some mild criticisms of Spanos when he first took over. But holy cow, this guy does not know what he's doing. This is crazy. And I hate to jump on the bandwagon because, I mean, there's been a lot of other people who have posted stuff similar to this Reddit post since the earnings report has come out. And I don't mean to dogpile on the guy, but think about it. This is 2022. We were just in lockdown for 2 years dealing with COVID. People want to go out and do things and go to theme parks more than ever. We're seeing it in Disney and Universal's numbers. People are coming back in droves. Why are they not coming to Six Flags? It's because you are charging way too much. If they're not going to come now, you are never making up that attendance, especially given the plan you currently have of not building rides and just making some minor changes here and there that are cost effective. It's not going to work. So Salim, keep firing people who disagree with you, because bottom line is, this company's already gone bankrupt once. It survived. It can survive again. Why not? Bring it to bankruptcy one more time. But seriously, Salim, let's have a little heart-to-heart here, okay? I'm being a little mean. I'm being a little, rude, whatever, right? Yeah, it's for the video. This is just between you and me. For as bad as I've talked about Six Flags in the past, I'm a fan. I like Six Flags. I like theme parks. I want to see you guys stick around. I want to see competition thrive. I don't want to see Cedar Fair take over, even though I am a Cedar Fair shareholder. But I don't want to see them take over. I want to see you guys stick around, because if Cedar Fair takes over, then they have no incentive to innovate or to get better because they won't have any competition. Same goes for SeaWorld. So please, I know you ended the report saying that you would never go back to the old Six Flags, and I'm not saying you have to, but reel it back a bit, okay? This quarter should have told you everything you need to know, okay? You had stupidly high demand to test this strategy on, and if it couldn't work, given the current demand, I don't see how you could find this working at any point in the future. So please, listen to the people who are in the parks every day, right? Guest satisfaction scores may look great, in-park spending may look great, but it's not looking good when you put everything together. Now, let me talk to you watching this. Yes, you. You see, not everything was confirmed or even addressed in this earnings call. So if you want to stay up to date on future Six Flags things, such as what about those 5 park presidents, are they actually leaving the company or not, feel free to subscribe to the channel or follow me on Twitter. I'll be sure to keep you updated as things happen. Anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments. I know this has been an absolute insane tale to tell, so please let me know. Do you think Six Flags can come out of this rut? Do you think that the strategy is sound? Do you think that maybe, it's just one bad quarter? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Love to hear what you have to say, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.